latest details as we count down to liftoff. Plus, spring break is bringing millions through the Orlando International Airport.
I know they're coming from everywhere.
What you can expect this weekend. And the local youth center for growing minds and plans.
Before the garden club started, I never really had any interest in it.
This is News 6 Mornings.
Hey, good morning on your Friday. It's 7 a.m. Thanks for joining us on News 6 Plus, YouTube, Click Orlando, all the things.
All the streams.
I'm Crystal Moyer.
I'm Justin Mormith, Trooper Steve, watching
What's up,
those
guys?
roads. Oh, it's a happy Friday, isn't it, Chief Meteorologist
is.
Candace
It
Campos?
is.
We love it.
And
We
it's
got some
hot.
nice weather to this weekend as
It's
well.
going to be a great
Yeah.
weekend. Temperatures, though, are going to be hot. So if you like temperatures near 90 degrees, you're going to love this weekend. Now, is this what March is supposed to look like? No, but it's spring break. Either you get a really big cold front that drops temperatures where people complain, or the temperatures get too hot and people complain. As we look here at the satellite and radar composite, it's spring break, right? Looking here, we are watching mostly dry conditions right now. We're just picking up a couple of little rogue showers off the coast. It's a little disturbance that's just clipping the beaches, but right now not producing any rain on shore. So no need to grab the rain gear until about Sunday. Looking here at the visibility, we have the warmer air bringing in all that moisture, and some of it's coming in the way of some dense fog. Right now, visibility has really dropped significantly in the last 30 minutes or so, up and down the 75 corridor. So visibility, do be aware of that, is less than about a mile. Less than about a quarter of a mile in some spots. Now, other than the fog, though, it's a nice, clear, dry start across Central Florida. We're in those upper 50s, pretty much area-wide. But as the kids are rushing out to their last day before spring break, 81. That is going to be our high by 3 p.m. We're going to be mainly dry. It is going to be getting even warmer today, and especially come Saturday and Sunday. But on Sunday, do be aware, rain chances are on the rise. Unfortunately, it's not just beneficial rain. We're talking about the threat for some strong storms. We'll be pinpointing more on that coming up in just a bit. But now let's check on how those roads are doing at 7:02 on this Friday morning.
7:02 Friday. It's beautiful, but the roadways, they're not beautiful right now. Southbound 429. So on our west side of Orange County here, we're seeing major southbound delays right now. South of Stony Brook, Tiny Road area. There is an incident or some type of debris out in the roadway that has all your southbound lanes just shut down. And what they're doing here is, I'll pull back the other camera if I can. Let's see if I can do that. There it goes. You can see, we'll see everybody being pushed into the toll plaza area because troopers have your main line shut down. We're trying to get the Sky 6 photo video feed up and working so we can actually see what's going on. But right now we're looking at almost a 2-mile delay. So as you're headed southbound, please add, I'm going to say 10 minutes, solid 10. Goes back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. The countdown clock again ticking down out on the coast as SpaceX is set to try again to get NASA's next crew to the International Space Station.
Yeah, we were less than an hour away from launch on Wednesday when a technical problem forced a scrub. News 6's Angie Casada monitoring the latest developments. And Angie, it's believed that issue is now fixed.
Hey guys, SpaceX says it believes there was a pocket of air in a hydraulics line that caused the scrub earlier this week. That's now been flushed out. And you can see these live pictures of the Falcon 9 remains on that pad and ready to go for launch just after 7 o'clock tonight. The scrub happened on Wednesday about 45 minutes before the end of the countdown. The astronauts were already suited up and inside the Dragon capsule when they found out their trip to the space station was going to be delayed.
The Falcon 9 is held to its launch gantry by two kind of mechanical arms that reach around the top of the vehicle and kind of hold it in place. And before they fuel, during the final moments of the countdown, they retract those arms to free the rocket. One of them wasn't working properly.
Now, tonight's launch will send 4 new astronauts to the ISS, 2 from NASA, 1 from Japan, and 1 from Russia, where they'll spend several months conducting science experiments. The 4-person Crew 10 team will relieve astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams, who have been stuck on the ISS since June because of problems with their Boeing Starliner capsule. Of course, we'll have more on that in the next half hour, and we're going to bring you the launch live, both on air and here on clickorlando.com, as well on our new 6 Plus app just after 7 o'clock tonight. So make sure you tune in. Angie Casada getting results, News 6.
Angie, thanks. Much anticipated launch there. We have some breaking news from overnight. A large crime scene in the middle of an Apopka neighborhood. This is video from the scene near 5th Street and Washington Avenue. You can see it appears a home is now blocked off with crime scene tape. We've reached out to Apopka police, but they have not released any other details, including if anyone has been hurt. Also new this morning, the FBI says a man wanted for murder in New Jersey could be here in Central Florida. Investigators want you to be on the lookout for this guy, Ricky Angel Vargas, who they say is a member of the Latin Kings gang and has connections to the Winter Park area. He's wanted for allegedly stabbing a man to death at a bar in Bergen County back in February. A $15,000 reward is being offered for information leading to his arrest.
Florida Fish and Wildlife workers fielded hundreds of comments last night as the agency had the first in a series of meetings to talk about a proposed bear hunt in the state. The virtual meeting covered several topics, including what time of year the hunt would take place, along with the equipment that would be allowed. Supporters say the hunt is needed because of an increase in the bear population, but reaction from the public has been mixed.
What are your thoughts on a possible bear hunt?
Not so much. No, I would prefer not. I mean, they're here because we've built in their area.
I think it'd be healthy for the county and everything. There's just too many of them.
So the last time the state held a bear hunt was back in 2015. So many bears were killed, the quota was met, and the hunt ended in just 2 days.
Wow, remember you covered that. Spring break is getting underway for a lot of families, and that means big crowds at Orlando International Airport. Tomorrow, it's actually set to be the busiest day of the entire month-and-a-half spring break travel period at the airport. And as News 6's Mark Lehman shows us all new this morning, there are some important things you need to know before you head out for your trip.
For the last several weeks, things have been busy at Orlando International Airport.
Everybody's starting to travel already. I see them coming down now. Yeah, that's why we came a little early. Beat the rush. Yeah.
About 7.4 million people are passing through the gates for spring break. The most crowded will be this weekend.
Now Saturday, I'm gonna be worried. Saturday I would be worried. Definitely, I know a lot of people coming down here, traveling from Cleveland, so I know they're coming from everywhere.
The airport says nearly 200,000 passengers are expected Saturday and nearly as many on Sunday. With that in mind, travelers are urged to plan ahead for parking and pack only what they need.
Do you guys travel light, or are you bringing a lot of stuff?
We travel pretty light. Yeah.
Maybe kind of speeds things up too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
One other time saver the airport suggests is booking a reservation time through MCO Reserve. It's free of charge. You can do it through the airport's website. It'll make things much quicker and easier to get through TSA.
Definitely get here early. Yeah. Have everything ready, and I think it should be fun.
The airport also wants everyone to be mindful of any attachments to checked bags. And as always, allow plenty of time to catch your flight.
If you're in Orlando, leave way earlier than your flight because of traffic. We're going to say that over and over. The traffic is bad.
In Orlando, Mark Lehman, Getting Results, News 6.
As for people potentially heading out of town, 6 local counties are on spring break next week, with some of them also having off today, so keep that in mind. Lake County students, however, were off this week, and they returned to class on Monday.
A 16-year-old awaiting trial for a crash that left 4 people dead will spend the next 60 days in jail after pleading no contest in a completely separate case. Rashard Ferguson pleaded to charges stemming from a 2024 traffic ticket of driving without a license. He is still facing vehicular manslaughter charges for that 2023 crash in Point Siena that left a woman and her 3 grandchildren dead. Highway Patrol troopers say Ferguson, who was 15 at the time, was speeding and ran a stop sign, hitting the family's SUV. Ferguson's father is also facing charges for allegedly allowing his son to drive. Happening today, Florida lawmakers set to meet in Tallahassee to discuss a plan to investigate insurance companies. It comes after a report from the State Office of Insurance Regulation found that insurance providers may have shifted billions of dollars to affiliate companies while telling lawmakers there was a homeowners insurance crisis. The office says that the report came from an internal analysis and was not a formal study or examination. However, they say they did find reforms are needed and suggested changes be discussed during the legislative session.
Well, if you were up early, you may have captured an out-of-this-world sight thanks to a lunar eclipse. That's when the Earth falls between the sun and moon. The event is also known as the blood moon, since as you can see there, the sphere that reflects light from the sun often appears reddish orange. The lunar eclipse began around 1 and ended just before 5. And Candace, you woke up your girls to see this incredible phenomenon.
Disclaimer, they asked for me to wake them up. I didn't wake them up at 3 in the morning just for funsies. But I mean, listen, look at all the other folks. A lot of our viewers sending us our pins who were up around the same time. You can see there's Michelle in Orlando, E.M. Smith and Curry Ford, David in Melbourne, and they're my two kids still in their pajamas looking at the moon. But it was just a really beautiful sight. Most of us stayed nice and clear. So if you were able to snap a good photo, I would love to see them. Don't forget, you can send them to our pins, clickorlando.com/pins. We're going to do a nice little slideshow of them on clickorlando.com, and we'd love to see your version in your little spot there of watching that one and only lunar eclipse of the year. Now let's look at, still going on the whole space theme, we're in the low 70s just in time for the Crew 10 launch. If you're planning on going out to the beaches, enjoying the coast all day today, hopefully you get to see that rocket launch. As of now, conditions look even better than they were 2 days ago when they had to scrub that launch. Downtown Orlando, 59 degrees right now. The winds are calm. They're going to start to pick up as we head into that weekend. Pretty breezy conditions both Saturday and Sunday, but it's going to be heating up, nearing 90, all ahead of another big rainmaker that could be bringing us some strong storms late Sunday. We'll have more details on that coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
Major delays this morning along 429 southbound at the 17-mile marker. If you're getting ready to leave your house, maybe you live in Winter Garden or even the Windermere area, this could affect you if maybe you're headed south towards Seidel or 192 or the Four Corners area. All your lanes are shut down, but the sweet kind of silver lining is everyone's getting pushed into the toll plaza. So not everyone is just at a complete stop. We are moving currently. We're looking at about a 2-mile backup right now as you approach that area. Probably not 2 miles, probably about a mile and a half. So please be careful as you cruise out through that area. Rest of us seeing the routine delays, but it's Friday, so we're doing much better along I-4 and the Florida Turnpike. Guys, back to you.
Good to hear. Thank you, Steve. 7-Eleven now. Ever received a restaurant bill where that gratuity was already added?
Coming up, the bill moving through the state legislature that would ban the charge. But first, new concerns when it comes to the future of the nation's Social Security program. What a new study found about how Americans are feeling following cuts to the federal government.
Social Security is a financial lifeline for millions of Floridians, but the trust fund is currently projected to run out by 2035.
And with the recent federal cuts and layoffs, there are now new concerns about the program's future. New this morning, News 6 producer Robert Brewer explains the hesitation some seniors are having.
It's been a whirlwind start to Trump's second stint in the White House. We've seen tariff wars, stock market drops, and layoffs. According to a CBS News tracker, more than 28,000 federal employees have been let go since the creation of DOGE. That, combined with Musk's many budget-slashing moves, has Americans on edge about the future of Social Security.
Hands off our Social Security!
Many people rely heavily on their Social Security income.
Corey Colleton, a senior analyst with seniorliving.org, tells News 6 a recent poll of roughly 1,000 Americans found that more than half believe Trump's policies will negatively impact Social Security and lead to benefit cuts.
If for any reason that was reduced or cut, that would, for many households, mean making decisions between food and other expenses, or having to downsize, having to make major changes in their everyday spending because Social Security income is so essential.
However, 75% of older Americans believe that Social Security will continue past 2035. They were reassured by Trump's recent promises to protect their benefits.
Because he did say, even during his campaign, that he wanted to protect the program.
So, how do we keep Social Security afloat?
The most popular solution among the people in our study was increasing the Social Security tax rate for the highest earners. It could be like a quicker solution.
Robert Brewer, Getting Results, News 6.
Senior Living also has great resources if you're preparing to retire and are concerned about the future of your housing situation. We've included a link and their number in our story on clickorlando.com.
President Trump is vowing to fight back against rulings from 2 federal judges requiring his administration to rehire thousands of workers let go during the recent downsizing of the federal government. Both judges found legal problems with the way the mass firings of probationary workers across multiple agencies were carried out. So they're now ordering those employees to be brought back, at least temporarily. The White House says that the Trump administration has already appealed one of the rulings and promised to fight the second as well.
New this morning, automatic gratuity on your restaurant bill may soon be a thing of the past, at least in some cases. A bill in the legislature would ban automatic gratuity or service charges for parties with fewer than 6 guests. The measure also requires restaurants to take off the gratuity on bills for 6 or more people if someone complains about the service. The Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association has already put out a statement against that proposal, saying the fee helps to make sure servers and staff are adequately paid. And we want to know what you think about all of this with our online poll. We're asking if you think restaurants should be able to add automatic gratuity or service charges. So far, 10% of you say yes, 90% say no. Just head to clickorlando.com/react to cast your vote.
At least let the person know that there is an added gratuity or gratuity is already added. I think that might be the better way to
so you don't double up on the tips.
Because I'd hate to see somebody lose out on a tip just because somebody doesn't want a tip for a big party like that.
Right.
I don't know. There's a way to do it. I don't know if that's that extreme, if we need to go that far.
Okay, good idea there. Well, a local student got quite the surprise, all because of the work he put into a school project.
Good morning.
Oh yeah, dozens of Moss Park Elementary School students were left starstruck yesterday as Magic legend Nick Anderson walked into their cafeteria. The surprise came after 10-year-old Nico Pomonis did a project last month in which his class created a Black History Month wax museum, and Nico chose to feature Mr. Anderson. That caught the attention of the basketball great, who after a conversation with the school's assistant principal decided to surprise his biggest fan.
We have a young man that did a project, and you talking about the young man that I thought that was on the other side of the country? He said, yeah, he's right here at our school. I'm the assistant principal.
So Anderson spoke to Nico's class, gave him some cool gifts, including a bobblehead, a signed basketball jersey, or a signed basketball rather, and then a signed jersey as well from his college days at the University of Illinois. Obviously, he is a big Fighting Illini fan, that student Nico, because he was wearing that orange. I grew up rooting for Illinois basketball just because my family's I have ties to Champaign. But that's really cool. Nick Anderson, just a great guy in the community.
He surprised you before at the gym.
Well, I've seen him at RDV. He plays. He'll pop in there to play pickup basketball. The most down to earth dude though.
Ooh, pickup basketball.
Can you imagine someone not know?
I know,
and
right?
They're like, oh, I got this guy, and then next thing you know, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
Don't underestimate him.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's
great
awesome.
ambassador.
And speaking of gym, you might want to go inside with the AC if you're, planning to get your workout on.
Sure.
The UV's been high this week, Candace.
Well, yeah, it's going to continue to go up as, of course, we get that sun angle starting to kind of climb. We're also going to get that UV index, those temperatures. It's just going to be feeling more like summer over the next couple of days, which is why I got you the nice poolside backdrop here. I normally wait till, June for it, but I guess March is early enough. All right, let's talk about that weekend hot trend as we're going to continue to see temperatures nearing 90 degrees both Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a 1-2 punch this weekend. And then speaking of a punch, we have some storms that we need to kind of talk about late Sunday afternoon and into the evening hours. We'll have that potential of sparking some strong to severe storms. But once all of that clears out, For everyone who's off for spring break, Monday for St. Patty's Day, we'll have some rain early in the morning, and then most of us will taper off and stay nice and dry and really nice over the next couple days. Now, temperatures out the door right now. We are all starting that warming trend, already closing in on near 60 degrees, or as of 7:19 in the morning. We're already at 60 in Cocoa Beach, 59 in Titusville, same throughout Sanford and Orlando. Now, looking at your highs for today, you can see as we take you here hour by hour, we're going to be back into those mid 70s along our coastline, mid 80s the further inland you go. But of course, we're going to be cranking up the heat as well as the winds this weekend. It's going to be kind of they go hand in hand, right? As we look at Saturday and Sunday, our winds will be sustained between about 10 to 15 miles per hour. But at times, you could get those gusts upwards about 25 to 30. And that's again Saturday and Sunday. And then the winds will die down just a bit into early next week. So kind of widening out the view. This is Sunday's front. This is going to be our front that will arrive late Sunday. Before it gets here, it's going to be causing quite a mess. We have a big severe weather concern across parts of areas in and around St. Louis, through Omaha and Chicago, even as far north as Minneapolis. That concern will shift even further east towards the deep south on Sunday. And then you can see, on Saturday. And then on Sunday, that concern now shifts, clipping parts of our coast, of our kind of viewing area, about a level 1 just north and west of the I-4 corridor. Still about a level 2 right there across the northern fringe of our viewing area. We, of course, will watch that in case the Storm Prediction Center brings that concern a little further south. Looking at that next system, again, bringing a lot of rain and storms to our north, bringing a lot of heat. Notice those temperatures in Orlando overnight staying in the 70s and cranking up into the 90s on Sunday. And then the rain, again, expected to come through late Sunday afternoon and into the early evening hours. Once it clears, you can see temperatures will be going from 90 on Sunday to the mid 70s. We're still talking about a 15-degree drop potentially from day to day, and then we'll be rebounding back to the 80s throughout next week. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
The busier the morning gets, the more the delays are going to increase out here. There's going to be southbound State Road 429 at the 17-mile marker. Puts us south of Stony Brook, south of the 535 area. So be careful, please. Everyone's being pushed into the actual toll plaza lanes and not the kind of fast bypass area. So please be careful there. There is some type of crash within there, shutting down all those travel lanes. But outside of that this morning, the rest of us really running smooth. No major issues. Turnpike and Hiawassee looking nice. Even Pine Hills. Good morning to you guys. Silver Star. East and westbound along Princeton. If you're taking Silver Star all the way westbound towards Hiawassee, even the Kirkman area, things look good. Even on the east side here, you can see no delay along East Colonial anywhere, really, even in the city of Orlando. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. 7:22 on your Friday. State lawmakers taking steps to crack down on reckless boaters.
At the bottom of the hour, the measure making its way through the legislature and what it would require operators to do.
But first, a health alert involving several products aimed at reducing acne. What recent testing found that has the FDA issuing a recall.
A health alert this morning when it comes to certain acne medications. A recall has been issued for 6 products over fears they contain too much of a chemical linked to cancer. The recalled items are right there on your screen. Come from companies like Proactive, La Roche-Posay, and Walgreens. The FDA says testing revealed the products contained elevated levels of benzene, which is found in crude oil and gasoline. The agency says exposure to the chemical can increase the risk of cancer, but the overall chances of that happening are low. Tough question to ask us, but how often do you get 8 hours of sleep? If you're like most Americans, the answer is never. It really is never.
Right. A new survey by the National Sleep Foundation finds 6 in 10 Americans aren't getting enough shut-eye, and experts say it's taking a toll. The study found adults with poor sleep health were 2 times more likely to have trouble being productive. However, people who do get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night report performing better at work and had better physical and mental health.
Oh, makes sense. Well, 7:25 now. With just hours to spare, movement on Capitol Hill to avoid a government shutdown.
Coming up at the bottom of the hour, what top Democrats in the Senate say they will do in order to keep the government funded, at least for now.
You're watching News 6 Mornings, getting results for Lake Mary, Flagler Beach, and all of Central Florida.
Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results.
Taking a live look outside. Good morning, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. It is Friday, and the beach forecast, by the way, is looking fantastic. If you have the opportunity to do so, we're at 57 degrees. The winds are calm at this hour, but the humidity is starting to climb. We have a southerly breeze, and that's going to continue to warm up those temperatures. Right now, we're nearing 60 already, but into the mid-80s we go, and the hits just keep on coming. We're going to get back into those 90s, near 90 by Saturday and Sunday. Also tracking, though, another cold front. This one will have the potential of bringing some strong storms in the forecast ISS late Sunday. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve.
Southbound 429, your main lines are still closed this morning. You can see crews out here trying to inspect the roadway. All traffic at the 17-mile marker being pushed into the toll plaza here. This is just south of Tiny Road, south of Stony Brook. So if you're traveling southbound, 10 solid extra minutes for the buildup. Outside of that, the rest of us throughout Central Florida doing pretty good this morning with your drive times still sitting in the green. The news continues next. Now remember, you get updates on any of our big stories anytime. ClickOrlando.com.
This portion of the news is sponsored by AK Certified Roofing. Live from ClickOrlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results in your neighborhood. Now it's 7:30.
A highly anticipated launch set to go off from our coast in just hours. What SpaceX is now saying about the problem that kept Crew 10 grounded earlier this week.
And a looming government shutdown now inching closer. What needs to happen today in Congress and what could happen if lawmakers can't reach a deal.
Also ahead, the doors to Universal's Epic Universe set to open in just months. The new way you can lock in your chance to be among the first inside. Good morning to you, Central Florida. I'm Justin Warman.
And I'm Crystal Moyer. Thanks for staying with us on this Friday. We'll have those stories ahead, but we want to start with a check of your pinpoint weather with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. A lot of folks heading to the theme parks for spring break. It's going to be toasty.
It is going to be a warm one from coast to coast all across Central Florida. It's going to be a great day to be able to get outside. You're just going to have to deal with the heat and humidity, but it's Florida, so that's expected, right? Cape Canaveral Launch Credit Union camera right now just showing off its beautiful colors. You can see a little bit of cloud cover out over the open waters. We're watching some, just a couple of scattered showers, not expecting to move on shore. So that's certainly some good news. We're going to be staying mostly dry today with highs along our coast into those upper 70s. Right now, we're starting off already close to 60 along our coastline. So if, again, you are planning on heading out to the beaches, we do have a moderate risk of rip currents. UV index is on the high side. Surf not too bad, running about 2 to 3 feet. Looking ahead into the forecast for your weekend, as many people kick-starting their spring break vacations, it looks like we're going to get close to near 90 degrees both Saturday and Sunday. We're also going to be bringing up the breeze in place coming in out of the south, all ahead of our next cold front. Now that cold front will have the potential of sparking some strong to severe storms. We'll have the timeline coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
All right, Winter Park, heads up. We've talked about Orange Avenue enough over with all the speed bump saga. Now we have Orange Avenue shut down. This is going to be closed at Minnesota, right close to the railroad tracks, a little closer to Dennings. East and westbound Orange Avenue now shut down for a crash out here. I have no details on it, but I'm informed of the closing here. So please detour yourself either up towards Fairbanks or continue southbound there along either Denning or depending on where they're going to reroute you. I'm going to try to get some more information on this crash. We're also watching southbound State Road 429 shut down at the 17-mile marker. Saw some troopers come through here just a second ago with some roadway crews. Everyone you can see here live on the camera here, everyone being pushed through the toll plaza out here. It's about a mile and a half delay. Traffic is moving. Guys, back to you.
All right, Steve, thank you. A second go-round for Crew 10 tonight after a last-minute scrub earlier this week pushed back SpaceX's latest mission to the ISS.
And this morning, the company says it thinks the problem that forced the delay has not been fixed. News 6's Angie Casada joins us live in studio. And Angie, how are things looking for tonight's launch?
Yeah, guys, good morning. This is a live look of the Falcon 9 rocket on the pad where in just a few hours, the 4 members of Crew 10 will once again suit up and head inside. The launch was originally set for Wednesday, but had to be scrubbed with under an hour left in a countdown. NASA said yesterday the SpaceX discovered air in a hydraulics line that they believed caused the issue. That line has now been fixed. And this is a high-stakes mission. Not only will Crew 10 spend months in space conducting experiments, their trip will also clear the way for Starliner astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, who have been on the ISS since June to finally come home.
I mean, they've been up there for more than 9 months at this point. I doubt one more day is going to upset anybody, but they can't leave until Crew 10 gets there. They have to show Crew 10, these freshly arriving crew members, the ins and outs of space station operation.
Now, NASA says the weather outlook is 95% favorable for tonight's launch. Of course, we'll have live coverage just after 7 tonight on air here on clickorlando.com and on the News 6 Plus app for your smart TV. In studio, Angie Casada getting results, News 6.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Angie. Well, the other big countdown clock ticking right now is in Washington, D.C. Congress has until midnight to reach a deal on a new spending plan or face a government shutdown. And as reporter Amy Kiley explains, it's now up to Senate Democrats to decide what happens next.
I will vote to keep the government open.
Those words signal the federal government might not shut down tonight. The Senate is set to vote on a GOP funding bill today that's already through the House. Republicans need a handful of Democrats to reach 60 votes and close debate. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says he will be one of them.
I believe it is my job to make the best choice for the country, to minimize the harms to the American people.
But it's still not clear if the bill will pass. Schumer's statement follows his earlier claim that Democrats had the votes to block the measure.
And we should be hell no, and we should use our leverage in the Senate to negotiate a much better deal.
Democrats want to push back on President Donald Trump and congressional Republicans. They want to rein in efforts to dismantle federal agencies, fire government workers, and cut funding from some programs. That's why House Democrats say they oppose the bill.
What voting for this CR does is that it codifies the chaos and the reckless cuts that Elon Musk has been pursuing.
On the other hand, a shutdown could hurt the economy when it's already reeling from new tariffs. Some Democrats also worry Trump could use a shutdown to push even more cuts.
We are in a perverse, bizarro land where we're having to decide between letting Donald Trump wreck the government this way or wreck the government that way.
Amy Kiley getting Results, News 6.
Now, the GOP continuing resolution isn't the only plan on the table. Democrats have been pushing their own bill to fund the government for about a month to allow time for more negotiations.
In Osceola County, Sheriff Marcos Lopez says his agency will continue to work with ICE when it comes to a crackdown on illegal immigration. The sheriff had a special town hall meeting last night. Turnout there was low, but the sheriff says he wanted to try and answer any questions after the strict new crackdown from both the federal and state government.
I know this is a very large Hispanic community, and they have a lot of concerns, but unfortunately, there's only certain things we can do. And there's certain things that we have to do.
Lopez says the sheriff's office will notify ICE if any immigration issue is discovered during an investigation, but that his agency will not conduct raids seeking out people in the country illegally.
Happening today, a vigil is planned for a woman known for being a pillar of compassion and dedication in the Titusville community for decades. Tonight, the community is coming together to honor the life of 72-year-old Jessie Kirk, who was found dead earlier this month. Her body was found near the Holliver Canal after she was reported missing days before. 35-year-old David Barber now being charged with her murder. He's being held in jail without bond. Tonight's vigil will be at Sandpoint Park at 7 o'clock.
Also happening today, a special honor in Seminole County for two Good Samaritans. They jumped into action after a fisherman ended up in the water back in January. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez. She is joining us live from Geneva this morning. And Stephanie, those men are set to receive the Citizen Life-Saving Award.
Yeah, Crystal. So the man that's boat was capsized back in January was in the water, and he was rescued by some people from the Seminole County Fire Department and some Good Samaritans. They're going to be recognized right here coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. Dan Watson is his name. He was fishing, changing his tackle when 15 to 20 mile per hour winds flipped over his boat near the Lake Harney and Jolly Gator area, again leaving him in the water. It was 50-degree water. He was able to call 911 from there, and that's when the local fire department and the Good Samaritans arrived to rescue him. He was, however, in a hypothermic state and was in critical condition. He did have to spend some time in the ICU, but thankfully he's made a full recovery, and he will be here today. And he will be meeting the Good Samaritans, the Seminole County firefighters, as well as the dispatchers that were involved in rescuing him. And they will all be receiving that life-saving award, again happening here at Seminole County Fire Department, station number 42 at 10 a.m. I'll have more from the ceremony coming up today at noon as well. Reporting live in Seminole County, Stephanie Rodriguez, Getting Results News 6.
Looking forward to it, Stephanie. Thanks. New this morning, Halifax Health says the number of people injured during this year's Bike Week event went down from last year. While the hospital did say 3 motorcyclists died during this year's Bike Week, up from 2 last year, traumatic injuries dropped significantly, with admissions falling from 180 last year to 114 this year. Overall motorcycle crashes also decreased from 92 to 73.
New Smyrna Beach police say the extra patrols at the shore aren't going anywhere with spring break starting this weekend. We told you yesterday how police put up a special event zone after they heard high school seniors would be skipping class. Well, now with spring break set to start for thousands of Central Florida students, police are set to stay on high alert. They say there will be patrols sticking around at the beach, and a juvenile curfew will also be enforced. Daytona Beach, meantime, is boosting security with new high-tech cameras monitoring one of the city's busiest tourist areas. Police now have live access to the cameras that'll now point down on Main Street. That's where Bike Week just wrapped up. Last summer, the city installed the first round of these real-time surveillance cameras just a few blocks north on Seabreeze Boulevard, which is another entertainment district. The goal is to give law enforcement a way to see the action and respond faster.
There's a room over at the precinct that has all the cameras hooked to it, and you can monitor those cameras.
The city says it's going to add more throughout the middle intersections of Main Street before moving across the bridge to install some in mainland areas. Well, now to a major milestone for Central Florida's newest theme park and for those who just cannot wait to get inside.
Like me. Single-day tickets are now on sale for Epic Universe. Sky 6 flew over the park yesterday, where we got to see some lucky Universal team members already trying out those rides. And in just over 60 days, you could too. Adult tickets for Epic Universe start at $139 and kids start at $134. Prices, though, do vary depending on the day that you plan to visit. Dates are available starting on June 1st for single-day tickets. Epic Universe officially opens on the 22nd.
I'm gonna be the first one to say this. I think it's gonna be epic.
Wow. I
Yeah,
didn't see
man.
that one
That's
coming.
pretty good, right?
That's good.
I just came up with it.
Bravo.
Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos now joins us. Got a little visibility problems out there?
Yeah, we got some fog that we're developing. I want to know, are there roller coaster testers? Do they just sit and they go on it like 12 times?
I've been seeing some of the reaction. There's a ride that people have been just
Yeah.
throwing up a lot
Oh,
on, and I
oh.
think they might need to make some slight adjustments.
No
it's not
way.
it's not that
It's
roller
a
coaster. It's
challenge.
like
I'll do it.
It's like one of those, 3D rides.
Ooh, oh, so people are getting like motion sickness. Oh, we need to dive into that one there,
Dive
Justin.
into that rabbit hole.
All right. All right, let's talk about those temperatures out the door. Not only are we dealing with some dense fog, that moisture is coming in the way of some of that humidity. Right now, we're closing in on near 60 in areas of Cocoa Beach, close to that near New Smyrna, Titusville, 59 in Orlando. But as we get results here with your bus stop forecast, if the kids are running to that bus stop in the next couple minutes, they might need a light jacket. We're looking mostly dry, but look at those temperatures into the afternoon, low 80s. Now, rain chances were pretty much nice and dry today and tomorrow. We are going to be upping the coverage up to about a 50% in Orlando, a little higher the further north. This is not going to be all Sunday, but more late Sunday. That will have the mention of some strong to severe storms. We'll have more details on the timing of that cold front and a look at the full weekend forecast in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
All right, pretty nasty crash at the intersection of Minnesota and Orange in Winter Park with obstruction. So please be careful as you're cruising out here this morning. But the big thing right now I'm watching is southbound State Road 429. So a source within the Highway Patrol has told me that, look, this is going to be closed for a minute. This is right here at 17 south of Tiny. From what I am hearing, there's possibly some type of sinkhole that has developed out here on the roadway. So out of caution, we're shutting it down right now. So everyone has to go through the toll plaza. You can see, obviously, FHP troopers there with their vehicles blocking all southbound lanes there at the 17-mile marker. So please be careful. Speaking of highways, yesterday on patrol, we were on 429 way up on the new North End extension in Seminole, where I-4, 417 and International Parkway, Wekiva Parkway, all come together out there. If you've never experienced or used any of this stuff and you're interested, it's a nice drive. Go and check it out. It's there. Make sure you're paying attention because it can help you out. It can also mess you up if you're not paying attention. So head to clickorlando.com. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Steve. 7:43 now, a local youth center getting results.
Coming up, how it's changing young lives and planting seeds for a brighter future. And a push to make sure a day on the beach, or on the water, doesn't turn into a tragedy. The bill being considered by lawmakers when it comes to boating safety.
First, though, an American Airlines jet catches fire after an emergency landing. The dramatic evacuation and how passengers are reacting. Next.
Just a terrifying scene at the airport in Denver after an American Airlines plane catches fire. 12 people had to be taken to the hospital. Here, you could see those terrified passengers evacuating on the wing of that plane there, just smoke filling the air. The flight was originally headed to Dallas-Fort Worth from Colorado Springs, but had to make an emergency landing in Denver. American says the Boeing 737-800 had an engine-related issue, then caught fire right as it was taxiing to the gate.
And I couldn't even see the ground when I jumped onto the slide because there was so much smoke because the wind was blowing the smoke from the engine towards the back of the plane.
All 178 passengers made it off and no one was seriously hurt. The FAA is investigating.
New this morning, newly appointed U.S. Senator Ashley Moody is pushing for a big move to relocate NASA's headquarters from Washington, D.C. to Florida's Space Coast. So she just filed a new bill with fellow Senator Rick Scott to do so. It's called the Consolidating Aerospace Programs Efficiently, or Cape Canaveral Act. The current NASA HQ lease in D.C. expires in 2028, and only 15% of its space was used last year. Moody and Scott say the move will save Americans tax dollars and encourage more coordination with private space companies. A committee in the Florida House just gave the green light to a bill aimed at cracking down on reckless boaters. It's called Lucy's Law. It honors Lucy Fernandez, a 17-year-old who died in a boating accident in South Florida in 2022. Right now, only boaters born after 1988 must take a safety course. This bill would change that, requiring those born before 1988 to do the same exact thing if they're charged with reckless boating or have multiple violations in a year. It also toughens penalties for leaving the scene of a crash or lying to law enforcement.
The only real way to prevent these tragedies is to make boater education and safety the priority across all ages and all groups.
A Senate committee approved similar legislation earlier this week. A youth organization in the Paramore community is getting results, pushing for students to make a positive impact.
And it's been doing so for over 20 years now. News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden shows us around the New Image Youth Center and the help they now need from the community.
This is sweet basil.
Meet Monteus Stewart.
Look through and find any of the strawberries that's ready to come out.
A beacon of hope and inspiration at the New Image Youth Center. Today, he's not just tending to the garden. He's nurturing the young minds who have gathered around him. At 29, Monteus admits his thumbs weren't always green.
Before the garden club started, I never really had any interest in it.
20 years ago, he was one of those young ones, full of potential, but lacking direction.
Before coming to the center, I didn't really think about my future. as much. But when I did come to the center, it was, you know, how is school? How are your grades? How are you doing? And then what do you see yourself in the future? And
Hey, you guys. Hey, Lily. How are you?
The person who asked those life-changing questions was Dr. Shanta Barton Stubbs, the founder and director of New Image Youth Center. Despite operating out of 2 aging buildings on Paramore Avenue, the mission of New Image remains unchanged. The center has raised $2 million of the $4.5 million needed for its new building. The state-of-the-art 8,000 square foot 2-story youth center will feature 6 classrooms, a flex kitchen, and bring the kids together under one roof. While everything will be brand new, their mission remains steadfast, nurturing young minds, planting seeds for the future, and harvesting hope.
yeah, I see potential in all of them.
A great place. And it's crazy when you look at what they've been dealing with, where they're housed, like the building itself just in disrepair, and yet they continue to do such great work and making lasting impacts on the younger generation. Just shout out to them. And I can't wait to get the follow-up story that they've officially moved into that new spot.
They can be proud of that new spot.
And they're so passionate, like, you know, the counselors there at New Image, and these kids are going to grow up and they're going to pass that along to the next generation.
100%.
Right.
No doubt.
Awesome. All right. On this Friday, you know what today is?
What's today?
Pie Day.
It's Pie Day.
Oh my
We haven't talked about it
We
yet.
haven't talked about it the whole morning.
Thank goodness.
It's Pie Day. Okay, we're having pizza today.
Are we having pizza?
We're going to have pizza.
Magic win.
Who's
the
we?
Magic won last
Magic
night.
did win.
Half off at a place. I'm not going to name it. You can Google it.
So if
But
it's half off, and they're normally doing $3.14 today, so does that make it
No,
like
that's a
$1.07?
whole separate.
Just make it $1.07?
You should see Justin's eyes right. He's like, oh, I didn't think about that. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast on this Pie Day. I'm not sure which one this is. This is probably like an apple pie, maybe. Weekend heat. We are talking about temperatures approaching near 90 degrees this afternoon, or I should say, come Saturday and Sunday afternoon. This afternoon, we're going to be into those mid 80s, but all of this heat is going to be building up ahead of our next big cold front. Now, this cold front could be causing some issues across parts of the country over the next 3 days. And by the time it makes its way here, it's going to be more like a late Sunday play that could be bringing us some strong storms potentially before clearing out and ushering in another nice round of weather into most of next week. So temperatures out the door right now, we're in the upper 50s, low 60s, 54 in DeLand, 57 degrees right now in Kissimmee. But now let's check on that hour-by-hour forecast for today. Our hourly average for this time of the year is about 79 for our daytime high. We're going to get right above that, up to about 83. So still running a few degrees above average, still looking mostly dry. But we are going to be tracking the progress of this next cold front. I put here that it's our Sunday front, but it is going to be bringing a mess of severe weather across parts of the country. You can see in and around areas of Missouri up through Chicago and Omaha, even as far north as Minneapolis and down to the deep south. And then that threat shifts further towards the east and south on Saturday. That does include some parts of our panhandle. So if your spring break plans take you anywhere in this zone over the next couple of days, just do be aware that you need to stay weather aware. Locally here, that severe weather risk is going to stretch a little further to the south, just clipping areas north and west of the I-4 corridor on Sunday. This is a level 1 out of 5. The area highlighted in yellow means a slight risk that we could see an isolated threat. This is kind of the same setup as we experienced earlier this week with very warm temperatures, and again, a lot of that instability in place. You can see here, clouds and rain forecast still picking up some of the rain and storms approaching our northern zones by about 6-7 o'clock. We'll start to shift further south across the rest of Central Florida as that line weakens throughout early Monday morning. So we are going to continue to see a lot more heat in the forecast. Could even be getting very close to near records in Leesburg and Sanford on Sunday, and then much cooler air settles in just in time for St. Patrick's Day. Now let's get results here with your pinpoint traffic.
Well, the results I'm going to get you is just telling you traffic's really slow. Southbound State Road 429. DOT camera showing here that shut down. Florida troopers blocking the roadway for something going on out on 429. I'm told possible sinkhole, but we haven't heard a confirmation on it yet, but there's no crash out there. So everyone's going into the toll plaza out there. Add 10 extra minutes if you can, please, and then extend that following distance. Outside of that, we're doing pretty good. We do have a crash northbound on the turnpike outside of Montverde. No lanes blocked, but you guys know, you guys love staring at crashes. So it's sitting on the right-hand side just waving at you. Guys, back to you.
Love those curiosity delays. Thank you, Steve. 7:53 now. Another attempt for SpaceX's latest crewed launch from our coast. The countdown to Crew 10's liftoff next as we check our big stories.
All right, it is 7:55. Let's check our big story, starting with SpaceX. It will try to again just after 7 tonight to get Crew 10 to the International Space Station. The first launch attempt on Wednesday had to be scrubbed, but the company says it's fixed the hydraulics issue that caused the delay.
A vigil is set for tonight in Titusville to remember Jesse Kirk. The 72-year-old was found murdered earlier this month. The suspect's now in custody. The vigil is set for 7 o'clock at Sandpoint Park.
Congress has until midnight tonight to reach a deal on spending, or the federal government will start shutting down. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer initially said he had enough votes to block the GOP's spending plan, but now says he will vote in favor of the bill.
And business is picking up at Orlando International Airport ahead of spring break. The two busiest days at the airport expected to be tomorrow, with nearly 200,000 passengers passing through the gates each day.
Lots of friends at the airport, huh?
Oh,
That'd be fun. All right, temperatures
friends.
out the door. Nearing 60 degrees already at this hour. We are going to continue to warm up back into the mid-80s. But if you think today is going to be warm, well, get ready. It is going to get even hotter. Temperatures nearing 90 both Saturday and Sunday. Not only will we be talking about record-breaking temperatures, but also the potential of some strong to severe storms, unfortunately, late Sunday. So make sure to stay weather aware. I know it's spring break. Just do be aware that there could be some issues.
Southbound 429 at the 17, we're seeing major issues. Your lanes are shut down. Everyone's going into the toll plaza out there because of a possible sinkhole. We're waiting for the Florida Highway Patrol. Please, we need some info to confirm that. Please.
Yikes. All right, thank you, Steve. Thanks for joining us. We break news on clickorlando.com.
You can also find all of our stories, our News 6 Plus app for your TV.
Have a great Friday. Be safe out there.
Fake news.